Freedom from Fear, Overcoming Anxiety, Phobias, and Panic by Howard Liebgold, MD. Introduction. Fear and anxiety are epidemic in our society. It is estimated that anxiety disorders have doubled in the past 4 decades. According to the latest National Comorbidity Study, 46 million Americans will suffer a significant anxiety disorder during their lifetime. Even that figure is underestimated, since the study omitted people over 55 years of age and those diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. In essence, 1 of every 5 Americans will be affected. The cost is staggering. According to the Anxiety Disorders Association of America, the ADAA, $42 billion is spent yearly, and much of it, more than half, is wasted on non-psychotherapeutic endeavors. The average phobic will waste more than $10,000 on unnecessary laboratory tests or office visits, visiting 6 to 10 practitioners. The average phobic will go 6 to 12 years before being adequately diagnosed and treated. Painfully, 70% of anxious patients will never be properly diagnosed, and they are overwhelming the nation's medical resources. Because anxiety symptoms mimic a host of medical conditions, anxious patients are 3 to 5 times more likely to consult a physician, and they're 6 times more likely to be hospitalized. 43 to 60% of anxious patients will become depressed or self-medicate with alcohol or drugs, and 3 to 5% will kill themselves. The intent of this book is to convey hope to all anxiety sufferers that their condition is treatable and curable. It will act as a guide to assess the appropriateness of past and current therapies. It is not intended to replace professional psychotherapy. Phobies is never in competition with existing therapies. Rather, it is a supplement to any ongoing program. By the same token, there is much research to suggest that manualized treatment, such as utilizing books like this one, can effectively treat anxiety disorders. Over 15,000 successful phobies graduates can't be wrong. Indeed, all phobias and obsessions are curable. Did I mention that before? I always tell my classes that to cure an anxiety disorder, you must begin on page 1. In the prologue, I will discuss how I developed my own phobia. More important, I will discuss the 3 major mistakes that I made that allowed me to maintain and perpetuate my disorder for 31 years. Chances are you have made the same ones, or you wouldn't be reading this book. Chapter 1 is about understanding anxiety disorders. It will abolish your shame and guilt about your condition when you learn the origin, physiology, and evolutionary benefits of anxiety. This chapter is so important, you ought to read it twice. In Chapter 2, you will find more than 40 tools and strategies you can use immediately to minimize or abolish anxiety today. In Chapter 3, Desensitizing to Phobias and Obsessions, you'll learn how to creep up on any fear. The gradual, safe, incremental, but safe, planned and safe, and finally controlled and definitely safe. Did I mention safe? Way to confront any fear. A process defined as desensitization, or getting familiar with your fear. Chapter 4, Phobak Potpourri, is dedicated to conditions that require special treatment. It includes imagined ugliness or body dysmorphic disorder, fear of blushing, fear of bowel accidents, fear of choking or gagging, fear of vomiting, fear of hoarding, illness phobias, shy or bashful bladder, suicide, fear of self-mutilation, and hair pulling. Chapters 5 and 6 focus on cognitive therapy, how to stop scaring, demeaning, and depressing yourself, and how to stop bashing yourself over the head so that you can fall in love with yourself. Chapters 7 and 8 offer life skills for wounded birds, assertiveness, mastering the art of conversation, arguing, and speaking in public. Chapter 9 tackles self-esteem, where it went, and how to get it back. Chapter 10 examines codependency and how to overcome any psychological disorder. And Chapter 11 tells you how to be happy, though phobic. At the end of chapters 1 through 11, there are short but important homework assignments. There are no shortcuts. Phobies only works if you do. Each chapter assignment leads you down a path that will allow you to surmount your fear and live the expansive life you so desire. Some people say some of the assignments are hard. Is a few minutes of hard worth years of unrestricted, fear-free life? I can tell you personally, it is. Finally, a word about my teaching and writing style. When I was growing up, there was a magnificent singer named Kate Smith. Besides a wonderful voice, she was famous for the clarity of her diction. You could understand every word she sang. I wish I could say that about some modern-day artists. Nevertheless, I always strive for simplicity and clarity. If you are looking for a complex scientific treatise on obtuse psychological theories to explain your disorder, I suggest you put this book down and look elsewhere. I brag to my children's classes, age 6 to 14, that I teach at a 12-year-old level. When I teach my adult classes, I teach at a 12-year-old level. And when I teach physicians, psychotherapists, and psychiatrists, you guessed it, I teach at a 12th grade level, a 12-year-old level. I also warn my participants, if there's something important, I will repeat it 47 to 94 times. If you complain that this text is too simple and too repetitive, I will take it as a compliment. While knowledge alone can never cure any anxiety disorders, lack of knowledge will maintain and perpetuate them. You need a specific body of information to cure, and this book will provide that. Good luck on your quest for that fear-free, expansive life.